The red sun went down, making long, spooky shadows across the empty plains of Zidonia. The eerie landscape seemed to whisper secrets of the past, as the last rays of sunlight painted the sky in hues of crimson and gold.
Did you see that? It was like a flash, something glimmering in the distance.
Zara, her scales shining emerald green in the dim light, nudged her friend Lyra. The two had been patrolling these plains for weeks, but tonight felt different. Lyra's blue skin seemed to soak up the last bits of sunlight, giving her an almost ethereal glow. She squinted, trying to make out the source of the glimmer. They were on a normal patrol, looking across the wide-open space for any signs of the crystal spiders that bothered their area. These creatures, though small, had caused significant trouble for their community.
Did you see that? It was like a star fell to the ground.
Lyra's voice, a series of musical clicks and whistles, was always softer than Zara's sharper sounds. Their unique way of communicating had always fascinated the other species on Zidonia. Zara shook her head, her four horns clicking gently. "I didn't see anything," she replied, though her curiosity was piqued. Lyra was always seeing things, her imagination as big as the sky full of stars. She often dreamed of discovering something extraordinary. But then Zara saw something move near some red rocks. Her heart raced as she tried to focus on the movement. Something shiny caught the light. It was unlike anything they had seen before, reflecting the fading sunlight in a mesmerizing way. Curious, Zara walked closer carefully, her hand near the energy blade on her leg. She had to be prepared for anything. As they got closer, Lyra gasped. Her eyes widened in disbelief.
It wasn't a spider, but something much more interesting, much more beautiful. It shimmered with an otherworldly light, captivating their senses.
Lying in the red dust was a creature unlike anything they had ever seen. It was as if the universe had decided to play a cruel joke, placing this otherworldly being in their path. He looked human, but his arms and legs were bent in a strange way. It was almost as if his body had been twisted by some unseen force, leaving him in a state of painful disarray. His skin was a pale, creamy white, so different from their scales. It was smooth and unblemished, a stark contrast to the rough, textured skin of the Zidonians. His golden hair was messy with sweat and what looked like blood. The strands clung to his forehead, adding to the image of a fallen warrior. Even with pain on his face, he was really handsome. There was a certain allure to his features, a magnetic pull that made it hard to look away. He had a strong jaw, a straight nose, and lips that were slightly open in a silent moan. His face was a perfect blend of strength and vulnerability. But it was his eyes that really caught their attention. They seemed to hold a story, a depth that was both intriguing and haunting. Even closed tight because of the pain, they looked like a bright blue, the colour of the sky after a rare Zidonian rain. It was a colour that spoke of hope and despair in equal measure.
"He's perfect." The words were barely a whisper, but they carried a weight that was impossible to ignore.
Lyra whispered, almost touching him but stopping just before. Her hand hovered in the air, trembling with the urge to reach out and comfort him. Zara, even though she was careful at first, agreed. She nodded slowly, her eyes never leaving the fallen figure. He was like an angel who had fallen, beautiful and sad at the same time. There was a tragic beauty to him, a sense of loss that was palpable in the air around him. They were scared, but they also felt bad for him. They were taught to be careful of anything not from their world, but they couldn't just leave him. His chest moved up and down as he breathed, showing he was still alive.
"We have to help him,"
Lyra said, her voice strong even though she was worried. Zara nodded, her hesitation turning into a feeling that she had to help. They were healers. Their people were known for their medical skills and fixing even the worst injuries. They carefully picked him up. He was surprisingly light, making it easier than they thought. They carried him to their glider. Lyra gently wiped the blood from his hair, her eyes full of tenderness that Zara had never seen before. For the next few days, they took care of their mysterious patient. They cleaned his wounds with special balms, being very gentle with his skin. They fixed his broken bones, amazed by his strange but elegant skeleton. Slowly he started to get better. His amazing blue eyes opened a week later, looking at them with confusion and fear. They spoke to him softly. He couldn't understand them, but their voices calmed him. His fear turned into curiosity. He learned to talk with hand motions, and his laughter, a new and exciting sound, filled their small home when they finally taught him his name. Ethan.
Ethan.
Ethan, looking weak but getting better, laughed with Zara and Lyra as they helped him sit up and eat.
As I got stronger, I started to tell them my story. It wasn't just any story. It was a tale of a world far away, a world that seemed almost like a dream now. I could see the curiosity in their eyes, the way they leaned in closer, eager to hear more. I talked about a place called Earth, a place with bright greens and blues, huge oceans and tall cities. It was a world full of life and energy, where every corner held a new adventure. The skies were vast and open, and the air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and fresh rain. I drew pictures in the sand, my hands shaky but making clear pictures of strange and wonderful creatures and things. Each stroke of my hand brought back memories of the creatures that roamed the forests, the birds that soared high above, and the fish that swam in the deep blue seas. They watched in awe, their imaginations running wild with the images I created. I talked about spaceships and wormholes, a mission that went wrong, and a crash that made me forget everything and lose my crew. The vastness of space, the unknown dangers lurking in the dark, and the feeling of being utterly alone. In a universe so big it was almost incomprehensible. They listened, their eyes wide with wonder and fear.
His story sounded amazing, almost too amazing to be true, but they listened closely, their hearts hurting because he was so lonely and missed a home he couldn't remember. The pain in his voice was palpable, and it resonated with them deeply. They could feel his longing, his desire to return to a place that was now just a distant memory. And in the quiet desert night, under the 2 moons of Zidonia, they realized they felt something more than fascination for him. They felt something like love. It was a connection that transcended words, a bond that was forged in the shared silence of the night. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging the new feelings blossoming among them.
Your world sounds beautiful, Ethan. I can almost see it. The way you describe it, it's like a painting coming to life in my mind. I can feel the warmth of the sun, the cool breeze, and the vibrant colors all around. We may be from different stars, but your story, it really touches us. It makes us realize that no matter where we come from, we all share the same hopes, dreams, and fears. Your story is a reminder of the beauty and fragility of life.
They felt a connection that was bigger than just different worlds, a connection made by sharing stories of Earth and stars. It was a bond that transcended time and space, a reminder that in the vastness of the universe they were not alone. They had each other, and that was enough. Their love for Ethan was complicated, made of admiration, gratitude, and a deep connection they couldn't ignore.
I would spend hours drawing pictures of our future, a life together among the stars, with strange hybrid children and homes on asteroids. I knew it would be hard. Ethan was human, so different from us. He wouldn't live as long as we do.
But the thought of letting him go, of sending him back into space, was too painful.
We told him how we felt, even though it was hard to find the right words.
I listened, understanding and loving them back. A love that didn't need words, a love that grew even in this strange place.
One day a weak signal came through the comms system.
Ethan's name came through the speakers, quiet but clear.
They were happy and relieved, but also very scared. This was what they wanted, but S1, media group, man fixing a device, man working on a futuristic beacon, sci-fi repair scene, stock they distribute equally. A rescue beacon fixed by Ethan was finally reaching his people.
I was so happy to go home to see my people again, but leaving them, the 2 who had become my family, made me sad.
The decision was his. They would support him even if it broke their hearts.